Okay, so this will be game 2 of the best of 7 series. SMGJtek is up 1 game to none over SMGLukeG. We're looking at the second map being ESV Ohana LE, as chosen by Luke. So to do the awkward introductions, we have in the top left corner our yellow Terran player SMGLukeG, down 0-1 in the series, to our Zerg player in the bottom right, SMGJtek. The winner of this will claim the title of the SMG Fight Club Platinum League Championship, or Platinum League Champion, sorry. So in the first game, we had Luke go for a strange-looking Mass Raven build, and ended up getting thrashed pretty badly to some somewhat early mute or roach ling bling aggression. He didn't have much back home to deal with it. So yeah, unfortunately that didn't work out so well for him. We're hoping that, well, I'm personally hoping for a bit more of a standard build this time around. Yeah, so anyway, we have Jtek still with no supply spawning pool down. I assume that he'll be going for the 15 hatch once again. Luke appears to again have a late barracks coming down at 13 supply. Overlords poking their heads around, and a drone coming up to scout. And it looks like once again he's walling in, so I believe this will lead into an early expansion once more. LukeG stating that he pays debit for the face. That's interesting. And we're actually seeing still no spawning pool for Jtek. And there it is. 15. I'm not so familiar with Zerg, so you'll hear me probably making some stupid predictions throughout the duration of the series. Luke now putting down his refinery and going up to an orbital command. This is soon to be scouted by this Overlord, so I'm interested to see what type of build we'll see with that early refinery. Jtek has an extractor coming down and his second hatchery. Marines coming out from the barracks, and the orbital is now finished. Luke continues to talk about cashing checks for the face. Maybe he should just focus on the game. Not that he cares, likely. So, mining beginning at Jtek's natural expansion now. Gas coming out, and Ling's in production. Luke's up to 400 minerals now. Still no expansion by the look of it, no second gas. I can't even begin to make any sort of predictions judging from the way the last game went. Luke now banking up to 600 minerals this early in the game. It's starting to get critical. I'm sort of wondering what's going to happen here. It's very strange to hang on to now 800 minerals this early in the game. 900 now. I'm starting to freak out. Now Luke up to 1,000 minerals. I'm going to stop counting now. Jtek, on the other hand, macroing quite hard and keeping his resources low. He now has a roach warden, so I'm sure we're going to see some roaches pop out and possibly some early aggression from him. Luke still doesn't have a bunker down, so any kind of aggression at this point could be devastating for him. A Hellion coming out with siege mode researching. Strange. Now finally a second command center going down, and an engineering bay. I don't know what to say about this build. The Hellion comes out just in time to have to deal with some roaches that'll be popping out, so that's going to be relatively useless. If we look at the unit production tab, we have 38 workers for Jtek and 23 for Luke. Both don't have much of an army at this point. I really find it strange to see these Hellions coming out and siege mode researching with actually no siege tank even created. One's finally in production now. Still floating around 400 or 500 minerals. Now going to a second and third barracks. 2 gas down for Luke, but actually one's just not mining at all. And the roaches are on their way. And looks like the siege tank's going to pop out in time to deal with these, but will it be enough to deal with the early roach aggression? Hellions actually see the roaches on their way and are going back to report their findings. And the tanks get sieged just in time, so this could actually be thwarted by Luke. I'm pretty surprised. Jtek is actually seeing that there is no bunker and still no expansion. One siege tank on the high ground is going to prevent any kind of damage from happening. Luke's going to stay tucked near his siege tank. Meanwhile, Jtek is still putting out a few roaches. Actually, quite a few roaches, so I think we're going to see this type of progression continue. Taking down the rocks at Luke's natural, and I don't see Luke actually being able to safely expand anytime soon, even though he's going to attempt to. Second siege tank coming out for Luke, so this expansion actually might be able to stay up. More roaches on the way. And Marauders coming out, so Luke actually is going to hold this off. Jtek actually backing off, seeing as though he can't really safely push in. And for the time being, Luke's going to stay alive. Very good. So we're seeing mining start at the natural expansion for Luke, although there's no orbital command and he's not pulling any SCVs down. Meanwhile, Jtek's sitting on a buttload of roaches, no upgrades for them just yet, and he's on to layer tech, so it should be interesting to see which direction he takes. There's a chance we could see a lot of mutas again. I find Jtek likes to use his mutalisks. Or infestors, which I'm sure every Zerg player likes. So Luke now pushing out with no stim pack, no upgrades for his marines whatsoever. I'm not sure how this is going to pan out for him. Mind you, there are a fair amount of marauders there, but I'm not sure that there's enough to deal with this number of roaches, which are now up to +1 attack. The siege tanks could potentially cause a problem for Jtek depending on their position. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Some spore crawlers going down now to guard against any potential drops, but Luke actually doesn't have a starport at this point, so he's not too interested in getting medevacs. Siege tanks going into siege mode now, and Jtek is actually going to attempt to get us around here and go raid for those siege tanks, which could actually go down pretty quickly. This could be a really bad engagement for Luke by the look of it. There's no siege or no stim packs. Marauders actually doing their part, but I think there's way too many roaches here for Luke to do anything about. And this, in my opinion, this bio group of Luke's is going to get cleaned up pretty easily, and it's going to put him at a bit of a disadvantage. Luke has a third command center now, but that hasn't done much. Lots of energy for his mules, which aren't actually doing any sort of harvesting either. So he needs to get that siege tank into siege mode, and I guess he's pumping out units to defend against this. But that siege tank could just go down, and we could see a GG once again. And these roaches have just been causing a whole lot of trouble for Luke since the very beginning of this game. A whole lot of trouble that some bunkers and some auto repair could easily hold off. And Luke just doesn't have enough to deal with this. Roach is now streaming in, but that siege tank is going to prove pretty much useless if Jtek can pick it off, and he does. just a couple Marauders left on the field now. 2 Marauders and 3 Marines versus 20 Roaches, so I don't see how Luke can hold this off. And it looks like we're going to see Jtek go up 2-0 here. Factory goes down now, and Luke pulling a ton of SCVs along with just a small handful of barracks units. So, you know, he might actually be able to hold this off, but he's going to be taking a lot of economical damage. So I think it's just a matter of time at this point. He really has not a whole lot to defend this natural expansion with, and that's going to go down. Command center floating over on the right, but he doesn't have any SCVs to actually mine with that at this point. A few back at his main, which is quickly being depleted. And yep, more Roaches are going to steam in. Storm in, I mean. And yep, that's pretty much all I can say. And another GG for Jtek to go up 2-0 here.